Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Profit Like It's Hot summer webinar series. Thank you for joining us live. And if you're watching us recorded, thank you for taking your time and watching us recorded. I appreciate all of you. As you guys know, I always ask if there's any topics, anything you all want to know. Give me a company, give me a topic, and I'll go out and search it and bring the folks back so you can ask them questions. This is an open forum, so feel free to ask questions as we go. And bookkeeping and CPA and all things related were a big request right before you went to Italy. So we had to pause it a little bit while you were in Italy, but we're so happy you're here now. So this is actually requested from the folks, Vicky. These are questions that they want to know. So I'm thrilled about that. I love getting feedback from our awesome members. So a little housekeeping, like I said, feel free to hop into the chat whenever you have a question or a question comes up. This is definitely a piece of our matrix, our profit matrix in our membership. If you have any questions about membership ever, feel free to text me or email me 661-340-9520. Text me anytime. I think I have the most widely advertised cell phone number in the world, Vicky. And I'm going to beg a little bit, which I don't normally do. I don't really like to. However, Ben is our new marketing guy. And if you guys have not seen all of the hubbub on social media, him and I are going back and forth, and we have a contest to sell summit tickets. So I had a deal where if, I think last Friday, if you buy tickets today, June 11th, so it has to be today. If you're watching this on the replay, you can try and text me and see if it's available. I will see. If not, we'll figure something out. But if you are on this webinar live and you buy tickets today, you get the very lowest price we'll ever have. You get a free ticket. So it's a buy one, get one free. And I will send you, where'd it go? I don't know. I probably used it somewhere. One of my very favorite supplements, the Life Cycle mushrooms. Yeah. The reason that I love them so much is that they don't give me the jitters. Like, I just feel awake, not jittery. So if you buy your summit tickets today, Mike, can you put the link in, or I will put the link in the chat. You will get all those items from me. Don't tell anybody. This is mine and yours secret. I was supposed to end it on Friday. I've extended it a few days. Okay, so let's get on to our guest. Vicky has been at almost every single one of our summits. If you have been to a summit, you have obviously, you've definitely seen her there. She is a staple exhibitor, and we love her for that. However, we love her more because she is one smart cookie when it comes to being able to decipher financials for pharmacy. So welcome, Miss Vicky. Thank you so much for joining us, and tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. Let me say that first. It's a pleasure to be here. I am hoping some of my favorite people are joining us and in the room, so to speak. So I'll tell you a little bit about Prestige Bookkeeping. We, started in general kind of bookkeeping, and then we now specialize in serving independent pharmacies only. So at this time, we're not taking other clients. It is our passion. We're a smaller firm. We like to consider ourselves a concierge firm. So we're very relational with our clients. We want to make it easy for you. We want to be easy to work with. We really do what we can to take it all off your plate. We may have some end of the month deliverables that you have to provide, but the days of, you guys downloading and providing your bookkeeping or CPA firm with 50 documents at the end of the month that's over. We don't work that way. We understand how busy you are, and we want to make it as easy for you as possible.
That is awesome. And I've seen that. I've heard the testimonies, heard the testimonials, seen the testimonials from our pharmacy owners, and they really do love you. So I love the title of that we came up with for this, and that's Receipts Don't Lie. And
Love that.
it really reminds me that your CPA sees all, right? They really do get a broad picture of your financials. However, not all of them can decipher them, and that's where Vicky is special to decipher them to tell us what we need to do to fix them. It's not, she doesn't just hand you, and it should be this way, or preferably, just hand you a receipt or a book and say, well, here you go, here's where you stand. Vicky has really dove in and learned a few, she knows a few things because she's seen a few things in pharmacies. So she can really give you that backup. Vicky, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So what we do for our pharmacists, and exactly what Heather said, we present our financials, okay? We don't just send you a flat file every month. We want to get on a Zoom with you. We want to dig in. We want to show you. We want to show you what we see. So let me go into briefly reading between the lines of your financials. Okay,
Yes.
so let's kind of get to that because you see what you see. But what we're doing is we're looking at month over month trends. Okay. And before we send your financials to you, we are looking at that. So we're looking at the income, we're looking at the expenses over time. So a red flag for us that you may not see, let's say your revenue has increased, but your net bottom line income has not increased, maybe it's decreased. We understand pharmacy to the point we understand the cost of goods. We know it's high. We know reimbursements are low. So we really keep our eyes on your revenue, on your AR, what's coming in from your third party. Are you getting everything you're supposed to be getting? Is anybody watching that in-house? We love to, we really, if we see the margin shrinking and we see more of an income, that's red flag for us. Other things that we encourage, we love to do expense audits with our pharmacies because look at it like doing an expense audit at home. How many memberships do you have? How many streaming services do you have? So equate that in because a lot of us don't know, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So in pharmacy, you guys are busy pharmacy owners. Your techs are busy, your pharmacists are busy. So are you duplicating expenses? Are you paying for inventory consulting with 3 different vendors? Do
Mm-hmm.
you need to be doing that? Sometimes you may need to, sometimes you don't. We really do hone in on the outstanding AR and the AP. What can we do? We come up with creative solutions. We have creative vendors. Um, so that's what we do. And when we send the financials out, many times it's hard to pin you guys down after the first 3, 6 months for that hour Zoom call or half hour or 10 minutes. So what we've done now, if we see a red flag in your financial, we will actually send you a video so that
Oh,
you can
great.
watch the video at your convenience. We send out the financials, they have a video attached, and we'll say, hey, Joe, your cost of goods was really high this month. Did you pay an extra bill? Is it just a bill date? A lot of times, if there's the 31st of the month, that June 1st bill may get dated the 31st of the
Mhm.
previous month. So is that accurate? There honestly, it can go on forever.
That- So, in all of that knowledge, what are the top three line items or the top three things that pharmacy owners should really be taking a look at? What are those numbers that they should really know or be advised of? Maybe is a better word.
So we're always looking at our cost of goods, and that plays into our inventory turns, right? because you have to have inventory, and that's your cost of goods is your inventory. But what are your inventory turns? What are we looking there? What's your payroll ratio? Obviously, we need a pharmacist in charge. We need somebody on the bench every day. But, what can we do with that and your cash flow? And here is what I will say on cash flow. It's not just money in your bank, right? And I know a lot of owners, you look in your bank every day because you're busy. That's where we come in. We might see that cash in the bank, but we know you're going to have to pay your suppliers very soon.
Right.
Some of our pharmacies are on a weekly pay, bi-weekly. They've kind of gotten away from the monthly. That happens a lot when times are tight. So don't just go by your cash in the bank. We do offer that as an extra service down the road when we've worked with pharmacies for a while. Do you want us to do cash flow for you? Do we know what's coming in and when it's coming in? So that can help you plan better on both ways. When are your big deposits coming in and when are your big expenses going out? So you have 800,000 in the bank today, but we know that $400,000 bill from whoever is coming in
Right.
automatic ACH. It's not like you're sitting there writing them a check at your convenience, right? So
Right.
I think those are our top three, the inventory turns, your payroll ratio, and your cash flow, not just cash in the bank.
Which it's what all the smart ladies say. That's what Lisa preaches on
Okay.
all the time, every time, all the days long. What are some dangerous assumptions that pharmacy owners make when looking at their financial reports? One you already said very clearly is if they believe if their income is going up that they are hunky dory, and you said that's clearly not always the case. Are there any others?
There are the cost of goods. We have to look at those third-party reimbursements, right? So we do encourage you, and I think Lisa's methodology and Diversify in general is like this. If you can negotiate your own contracts,
Mm-hmm.
that works. We have some clients who are very big in that, and they're very successful because you don't want to sign a contract where your reimbursement is going to be less than your cost.
Right.
And that happens. I mean, we've seen it with our PBMs, and we see the reimbursements going down or fluctuating.
Right.
So we do recommend if you have the capacity, it's a lot of work up front, but we do believe that signing individual contracts, if you have capacity to do so, I think in the long run, it's better because in that contract, your reimbursement is not going to be lower than your acquisition cost.
Is have you seen the length of time with signing your own contracts with the patients, the clients that you have? Is it just that it's a slow process in general, or is there a specific part that makes it harder than the others? Can you talk a little bit about what your clients have gone through as they've, because I know you told me the other day, it's quite a few. It's not just one or two, it's quite a few of your clients.
Yeah, quite a few of them are going to that, or they've been doing it for years. And honestly, those are the folks that I see being the most profitable. What I think, I don't know that the negotiation and the contract signing sounds that long. I think gathering your information to do so.
Okay.
And you really do need someone dedicated doing that because you as the pharmacy, I mean, I do have owners that that's what they do and they're not really in the pharmacy. So it
Sure.
depends, what is your capacity? Do you have a manager? Do you have a pharmacist manager? Do you have someone that can do that for you? Because, you have to start making phone calls. You have to start looking for those individual contracts. And you have to stay on top of it. I think once you get to where you are, I don't know that signing and negotiating is the most difficult piece, to be honest with you. Um, and it's hard because you have to You have to allot the time for it.
Mm,
You just do. And sometimes it's after hours because I know a lot of you guys are on the bench yourselves.
right,
You are
right,
doing the work and you are tight. And maybe it's just you and one other pharmacist and a couple of techs. So, um, but we do have clients that, and some of our clients are very open and they will talk to somebody and we can put them together and they will mentor you and show you how to do that. And you know what I mean? What does it look like to
right.
negotiate our own contracts? And at least when you do that, you're more aware of what your reimbursements are going to be and your DIR fees, which now are not as transparent. I don't know that they were ever transparent, really. But,
Very true, very true.
less
Well,
less transparent now.
maybe we should invite a few of your clients to come on and tell us about that process. That might be a great webinar topic for the next season.
I
Um,
agree.
uh, so, in your experience, what is the biggest mind shift or the biggest shift that pharmacists have to do
It's a
when
lot.
when you hand them and say, hey Heather, if you don't get your junk together, I don't, we're not going to be doing this for very long. What's the biggest mind shift that you see um, in
So,
pharmacists?
so the old days of just filling prescriptions and consulting with your customers and being yeah, I'm a true believer in community pharmacy. I use one myself. I always have. I don't care about the price because the service is great.
Sure.
But there has to be a mind shift now because cost of goods is high, reimbursements are low. I can share some really creative income streams that
Okay.
some of my clients have come up with. It's not for everyone. It depends where you are, where your area is.
Sure.
So I have some clients who are in areas where maybe there is not a Target or a Walmart, right? Or maybe it's not walkable or close by. So they have a great gift shop. And it's come to where it's almost a little fashion boutique, like you'd have
Mhm.
at a hair salon. So, when it starts raining, they have the ponchos for you to get to work or for your kids to get to school. They sometimes carry school uniform replacements, sports teams swag,
Oh,
your Philadelphia Phillies or Eagles or Flyers or whatever season it is. And what that not only does, it becomes more of a variety store.
hmm.
Those old fashioned from the 60s where you
Yes.
walk into your pharmacy and you can buy a toaster, and a t-shirt and a gift for someone. But we have several clients who have a very robust gift store. We have someone else who may or may not be listening. I don't know who they have a wedding registry in there.
Oh,
When you're in a very rural community and there may be some elderly, not everyone has a computer, or not everyone knows how to go on to the knot and get into the
sure,
wedding
sure.
registry. But what this does is it drives people into the pharmacy.
That's
Other
fantastic.
things we have, oh my God, it's so crazy. We have, well, compounding, obviously. If you're in an area that can do, I would say, cosmetic, the hormone type of compounding, that's great. That's all cash if your area can support it. But I have other clients who are involved in specialty pharmacy, and there's a good profit margin there. I know it's not for everyone, and there's a lot to get there because that can be end of life. Um, Clinical pharmacy right now is big.
Mhm.
They're actually becoming your healthcare provider. They're going out to the folks who can't leave the house. They
Mm.
are vaccines, diabetes, weight loss management. You know, they're doing so much for the community,
Mhm.
drug delivery, and they're kind of bundling it in. Have you heard of the membership pharmacies? Have anybody heard of that?
Yep, yeah. I think we might have a few on today.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so obviously cash is king. I mean, even Heather Harrow knows that. But it's really diversification of programs that people need and maybe thinking outside the box. The gift registry sounds like a fantastic idea,
That's
especially
great.
for those folks. I know you guys have all heard me talk that I am a avid stalker of economy pharmacy in Oklahoma, their social media. They are fantastic and they have a great gift shop. And every Friday, they have two high schools in their town, and they carry both swag for each team. And each Friday during the football season, they have a little rivalry, or they do the two colleges there. And I just absolutely love that. I love their channel. Go check them out if you can. They're not even members. I just absolutely think that their social media is so fantastic. It's Chris and Rebecca Schiller, and Rebecca does all of that. I want to make that very clear. But she is fantastic at it. But you're absolutely right. It's becoming the go-to place in your community. I say it all the time when I talk about guerrilla marketing. It's you becoming the expert in your community, and it could even be the expert in all things gift registry. It doesn't always have to just
Right.
roam around your store being the expert in healthcare, although that's our number one priority. These
Absolutely.
diversification streams can really help out. So, can you give us? And I know that you told me, the three majors that we all strive for is inventory, payroll, cash flow. Um, is there anything that we can do, because those are kind of processes? I mean, we can look at them and we have to work at them. Is there anything more immediate, Vicky, that people should either look for, put on their radar to work on, or just call you now to fix it all?
Call me. Don't touch your books. No, I'm kidding. And I know a lot of people are trying to do their own books. I am going to say this to you. A lot of owners are very focused on the income statement, now known as the profit and loss. And
Right.
that's what you're seeing your money in and out. What you're not seeing on that might be what we call owner's distribution, but it all plays into there. And I'm not saying that you can't take your own money.
Right.
Be careful what you're taking it for.
Okay.
Don't drain your bank account. You guys work hard, you deserve your money, but we do sometimes see that, again, wasteful spending, overlapping expenses. I had a client who had a recurring charge from Pier 1 for years on a
Oh,
credit card. It was very small charge. It was $9.99, but they
sure.
didn't know what it was for. Now, maybe they at one time they were buying and resell. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what kind of membership, but it was there for years. And do you know how long it took us to cancel, because they just didn't have time to cancel it. So we were able to find out what it was and try to get it canceled for them, which we successfully did. But really look at your wasteful spending. Look at what you're spending when you're pulling out that card. I love and hate the expression a business write-off, because it's coming out of your pocket, it's your bottom line. And again, there's a balance. You're working hard, it is your money. You're on payroll, and sometimes, you take a bonus, you do this and that, and all that. I'm not going to get into tax structure and that kind of thing. But, sometimes we don't get the information we need, so we don't know what's going on. We don't want to put something as an expense that's going to decrease your bottom line if actually what you're doing is an asset, like updating the pharmacy, doing construction in the pharmacy. That can cost a lot of money. But we need to know what you're doing so that those transactions and expenses, that's going to sit on the balance sheet. A lot of our owners do own their land and their building.
Sure.
Also, I don't know, you guys have probably also heard of the owner who owned the lot next to him and made a parking lot.
Yeah.
and charges people to park there.
Yeah.
So, because there's no street parking, and if there was, it would be metered parking anyway. So it's
Right.
cost effective for everybody. They're just in an urban type of area where there's just no parking. So
Right.
why not park right there, go right into the door of their pharmacy, into their great gift shop, and get your prescriptions?
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So really what pharmacy owners, what business owners in general, not just picking on pharmacy owners, but we should really think of our bookkeeping service um, as somewhat of a consultant. Not that they need to check with you to get your permission. It's not a permission ask. It is a, hey Vicky, I would like to tear down this wall and add 300 square foot of pharmacy. What's the best way for me to do? I just give you my receipts? Should I ask for loans? It's really a conversation on how to best proceed, not so much a yes or no. You can do that. Am I hitting on the right?
Yeah, so if we know what you're doing, we can keep an eye on it. And once we get to know your pharmacy and we've worked with you for 6 months to a year or years, I know a lot of our pharmacies use Bill.com. So Bill.com has a card that you can use that will delay your payments for 30 days.
Oh,
And there's no interest. So if you're doing a build out and you are a little strapped for cash, but you have to do the build out to bring in more cash, right?
sure.
So we have that. American Express now has a checking
Oh,
that you can kind of, it depends on the situation, but Bill.com has some really good incentives. And as long as, it just delays your payment for
right.
that 30 days.
With
That
no interest.
Correct, correct. Now, if you go past a certain point, it's like anything else. But whatever we can do to keep the cash flow, and just like you're saying, you're not asking us permission. But if we start seeing, repairs and maintenance and this and that, then we know that's a build out
Mhm.
or a pharmacy improvement. So that's not really an expense. That's going to sit on your balance sheet. I don't want to go too deep into that because
Sure.
that's
Sure. So,
that's our job, not yours.
so really, we should look at our bookkeeping service, whether we use you or
Anybody.
anybody else, as an extension of our pharmacy, as a partner. You are a true partner, and you're going to help them through kind of what could be sticky situations, either that they're already in, or build outs are never fun. So having a little bit of guidance in that, things of that nature, is invaluable, I think. Um, is there anything that I missed, Vicky? Is there anything that you'd like to tell the people that I missed in my questions?
You know, I don't I think we covered a lot, but I will say this is definitely the time for our pharmacy owners to have an open mind,
Mm,
look at different income streams, like compound 340B is really good for
yeah.
some people. Keep an eye on your expenses. Do an expense audit. If you don't have an outside bookkeeper and you're doing it yourself, pull everything out in Excel, see what you're duplicating. Again, three companies that do the same thing. I see that often.
Mm,
I think your vendors that Diversify have are great vendors. I work with them and I promote a lot of them because our interest is really in seeing you guys survive. We want to see you more than survive. We want to see that profitability.
does anybody have any questions for Miss Vicky? As
I
you
have
can
a
see, she's,
question.
yeah, sure.
Like,
Hi, Vicky. How are you?
oh, good.
Talking about pharmacy systems, right? We're going to go a little deeper than do you rely on the pharmacies just give you their data from the pharmacy system, their financial information? Yeah,
No,
I see you shake your head.
no, no.
What is any recommendations you have for people who are just relying on the pharmacy system as their financial
It's a great question.
Oh
guide?
boy, Mike. Thank you. And no, thank you. Okay. So here's the thing with the pharmacy. system. I mean, yes, you're talking about, your AR going out and then your payments coming in. Well, it's not going to be correct if nobody's sitting there checking off what you've gotten back. Okay. Um, I would not, we go by the bank and your reimbursements, and it depends how you're set up, what you're doing. We have some pharmacies that they don't track their AR. They're just money in and out. We don't recommend that, to be clear, but we do see that sometimes. Do not just trust your pharmacy system. You have to look at your bank. If you are paying for the concierge level of reconciliation, somebody's got to be looking at that.
Mm.
We tried to do that with a few clients go into, I think they were using Pioneer. Okay. Well, nobody ever checked off what came back. So, of course, their AR wasn't correct in Pioneer, but it was, I think at the time it was Cardinal or Epic. I forget who it was. So it was correct there. But somebody has got to be watching what is coming in. And the other thing with that is unless your pharmacy system is set correctly for your pricing, because we all know how that changes and it can be subjective, is somebody going in there and making sure it's correct every month or every week. And from what we see, that is not happening a lot.
You're very true. I bring that point because people are now buying from other wholesalers and secondary wholesalers, and they're bringing all right. Are they making the adjustments in their pharmacy system to know that maybe they're making more profit or that they're showing a greater loss? Who's to say that as long as they're keeping track of it, like you said, and I think that's a big part of what the bookkeeping can do is help them understand that information.
I have two questions. The first one is, are more three. Let me scroll back up to the first one. Are most RXs now on cash versus accrual?
So what we're seeing, and we don't do taxes, but we do collaborate with your tax preparer,
I
your
love that.
business coach. We are part of the team. So what I am seeing is day to day we go cash, and at the end of the month we accrue, and we make the adjustment for your third party AR, which is your reimbursements, your in-house AR, if you have that, and many of our pharmacies do, inventory, and then sometimes we have intercompany adjustments depending how many pharmacies you have. So we track that very carefully too,
Oh,
very carefully, and we have a very great workflow for that because we have many pharmacies that have owned multiples, from 2 to 10.
I
So
love that you said the word workflow. So that means there's a plan. There's a way that it flows as instead of everybody running around with their hair on fire.
yeah, so it is, to answer Casey's question, and I think we have great CPA relationships. So actually, pharmacies are allowed to file hybrid,
Mm,
cash and accrue it. Some of our folks don't do the accruals till the end of the year. As far as AP and inventory, they may do that at the end of the year. We like to see it monthly, but you have to do what works best in your life for your pharmacy.
yeah. And then the secondary question is, are you having to get reports from each RX for their AR from their PSAO?
So what we do for the AR, we can only track what is going through the systems that we can see. So if it's Epic, Cardinal, or LeaderNet, whatever, we will go into there and see the outstanding AR. And to Mike's point, there are a lot of our owners, that's not all that's coming in because they may have individual contracts outside of that. So we would have to rely on them to tell us what's coming and going. But a lot of our owners actually find that easier to track, to
Mm.
be honest with you, outside the system, because they know what's going out and they know what's coming in, and maybe because it's smaller. So we don't always get that information. We will take what comes out of there. We do rely on our owners to send us the outstanding third-party AR if it's anything out of a system that we can't access. So I don't know if that fully answered the question. We're getting from HRX for their AR for people. Well, most of it's going to be in that report, unless you have individual contracts. We have a lot of pharmacies that are going to that. So they get money coming in that really is not going on the official AR report.
And then are you all tracking the fee amounts? Thankfully, much less each month. And if so, are you getting those reports from the PASO? Again, if they're on cash, then this won't matter as much. But running accrual with RX is double, but not easy. Doable, sorry. But running accrual with RX is doable, but not easy.
I don't feel like you have to worry about that. Again, it's accrued at the end of the month. So we do it. And that's where we do things a little bit differently than a CPA firm does it. Because we've gotten clients who have come to us from some of the bigger firms for whatever reason. But when your income comes in, it goes right into, it is recognized as income. And we just do that AR adjustment at the end of the month. But we watch it. Like, so if your month ends and your outstanding AR is $50,000 on May 31st, and we pull June on June 30th, and we see the starting balance on June 1st was not that 50,000 that ended in May, that's a question. Then we're digging into that and we're saying, is the reporting wrong? Did somebody go in and check off something that they weren't supposed to? So we had someone who hired someone else. They went into NetRx. They checked off everything. We go into AR, it's a big zero. We know that's not right, right? So it was just a new employee. So we were able to figure that out. So again, we're not robots. We're not just saying, oh, this is what we found. If we see something that doesn't match from the month before or is out of the ordinary, we are looking into it.
Okay, very good.
We're not just leaving it there.
What about inventory? Is it recommended to rely on the pharmacy software, or software can make errors sometimes? I see you smiling.
I don't know if the software makes errors or who's working the software makes errors, or if it's, the pricing adjust, you guys have to adjust so much. We recommend that you do a physical inventory count twice a year. But we will be very happy for once a year because we know you're busy. But I have my pharmacy owners all the time tell me that they're like, no, that inventory is not right. They send it to us because we can't get into the pharmacy system because that's more of it's not a software, it's a hardware. And even for us to get access. So if they're sending us the inventory, we can usually recognize after trending with you for a certain amount of time, does that look right? And a lot of our owners know if it's right or wrong. And, it could be the pharmacist. It could be, it just depends who's doing what
Sure.
on location. So
Sure.
I wouldn't, not 100%. I just wouldn't.
One more question. Do you track personal charges AR separately from third-party AR?
Yes, we have two separate line items. Third-party AR is probably your PSAO. We're getting it from there, and whatever else you may be telling us, that's manual. And what you're saying is the personal charges, you mean your in-house, whether it's your customers who are charging till the end of the month, doctor's offices, clinics, all that, that's a separate line item.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Great questions, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Gosh.
Well, Miss Vicky, you have been so fantastic to us today. I did not even rush us. I am 3 minutes over and am happy to be 3 minutes over. It's been absolutely fantastic session. I will put all of, was there another question? Oh, I will put all of Miss Vicky's information in our replay. She is fantastic to chat with. It might be worth it just to have a call with her and see, I don't know that you have an official like consulting, like to see if she's right for you and you right for her. But she's happy to do that. She's very easy to
You
talk
do.
to, very smart. So go check her out. Feel free to ask her questions too. She's fantastic.
Thank
um,
you. Let me just speak to that. I know we're over. I don't want to go too
no, please,
over,
please.
but we have worked with some of your members that we've met at the conferences to help them when they had to fill out all the forms for ERC or with HHS or HSS, I forget what it was.
Right.
So sometimes we will just do project-based work.
Oh, that's
So
important.
yeah, so it just if so just to let you, it is worth a conversation
Yes.
because even if you're not ready for an outside bookkeeper and you're trying to do it yourself, perhaps we can just give you a few tips.
I love that. I love that. I love that you make yourself open to this community like that. Thank you. Well, we are at 11:40. I'm going to remind you all again to buy summit tickets from me. We cannot let a new guy beat me. That is wild. Um, remember, I'm going to put the link one more time. Um, um, uh, remember, you get the life cycle starter kit, which is fantastic for you to try or anybody in your pharmacy. You get BOGO tickets at the absolute lowest price, unless you're a member. But for non-members, the absolute lowest price that you'll ever get. Some of you are waiting for our BOGO later on, and this is going to be the lowest BOGO you can get. Also, one thing that I keep forgetting to mention that I'm just so excited about this year is if you purchase a summit ticket now and figure out you can't get coverage, somebody's graduating, something happens, if you let us know by December 31st, we'll buy that ticket back from you. No questions asked. Just let us know. So we have buyback protection for those. So for those of you that are coming, just buy it at the lowest price now. And don't let Ben win.
Exactly.
Thank you guys for showing up every time I have one of these. I appreciate you all so much. I appreciate your feedback. So let me know if we have any, anything that you're curious about, need knowledge about. I will find that vendor, that company, and have them on our webinar. Or I could also, always ask Miss Lisa if there's something that we need to interview her for. My interviews with her are always very fun. So thank you all for coming. Replay will be sent out tomorrow, and I will see you all in a couple of weeks. Have an awesome
Thank
rest of your
you.
Wednesday. Vicky, thank you so much for coming
Thank you.
on.
Bye,
Okay,
guys.
bye-bye.